So we live in the greatest country on earth. We can help anybody or everybody worldwide in the event of a natural disaster, war, pestilence, famine. But should something really go sideways in our borders, like a hurricane of biblical proportion, we're all alone. Nobody's coming. Yeah, that's the way it is. Because, I mean, it's what happens when there's a famine in Central Africa. Who sends the stuff? Well, that's us. They say the UN does, but it's us.
Oh, yeah, it definitely feels that way.
Yeah. So what happens when there's some stuff going down in the Middle East? We sent $159 million to Lebanon a couple of days ago.
But we give hurricane people $750
Bingo.
that they have to apply for to get when they are stranded without Wi-Fi and phone signals and all that stuff. So be sure to apply for your $750.
Right. All that said, welcome to Burnham Podcast. I'm your host, Danny Burnham. Alongside me is
Chris Powell
and
Tango.
Tango, our producer.
I couldn't hear Tango on my ears.
I almost got the intro in the spot that I wanted at that time. We were pretty doggone close.
I had my mic off.
There we go.
Tango doesn't cue the mic until he's ready to say something. And then he doesn't waste his words. So
He's very short.
He is. He didn't waste any words. You got to respect and admire somebody who doesn't waste words, which is...
Why use many word when few word will do?
Right, thanks, Kevin from The Office. Love it, man.
Caveman brain work.
I'm never ready to hear that guy talk in real life.
Really? You're never ready?
I'm never. Because he's like the most intelligent guy in the room most of the time. And I'm like, wait a minute, what'd you do with Kevin? But
funny guy.
Yeah, hilarious dude. Serious subject tonight, though. I mean, again, it's been kind of serious. Last week wasn't as serious, but we'll still get some laughs in the meantime, because that's what we do.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty to laugh at with those AI pictures going around.
Oh man, we'll get to
we'll
get to some of that. But first, let's start with our trivia for the evening. Tango's going to roll out a piece of trivia, a question.
Bum, 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 trivia.
Oh,
I'm going to have to get
fancy.
music for it.
That's fantastic.
All right. So, North Carolina is indeed the is hit with the third most hurricanes. How many hurricanes has North Carolina sustained since 1851?
1851.
Since they started tracking them.
They started tracking hurricanes in 1851.
Yeah.
Did they call them hurricanes then?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
So
I mean, I don't know.
nearly 150 years. How many years?
I mean, we're
So we're talking hurricanes. We're not talking tropical storms.
We're talking actual
full-on hurricanes.
Hurricanes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
How many
it's
in
a coastal
150
state.
years? So if we're going to say it's got to be three digits. It's got to be at least three digits.
It's got to be 100.
It's got to be 150.
Yeah, at least 100.
We'll get to the answers
Yeah.
in a little bit.
Yeah, no, I'll just
Okay.
we'll posit our guesses at this point.
Over 150 years, I'm going to say at least 150 because it's probably got two or three in many years and none in some.
Yeah. So for 100 and what is it exactly? How many years are we talking? 2024 to 1851.
1951 would have been 100 years.
Yeah. Plus another 173 years.
Something like that.
Man,
We all went to public school.
We
I
did.
know.
And he was a teacher at one.
I was. I was not a math teacher.
Oh, that's a cop out.
Yeah.
I'm going to go be a teacher and just be a PE
173
teacher.
years.
I said 173. Dang, you
Model.
You guys are
Model.
best public school in the state, far and away. So I got to make a guess. I'm going to go low and say 90.
I'm sticking with 150.
150, and I'm going to go with 90. We're not as far apart as we were last week. 1,000 versus a million. So we're going to go. Those are our guesses for the number of hurricanes that North Carolina has sustained in the last 173 years.
And the answer, right after these messages.
There's no commercial here. This is if you would like to have a commercial here, let us know. We'll hook you up, make it happen. We'll read your ad. I'll write an ad and read it for you. Anyway, so we're talking about these these hurricanes and the situation we find ourselves in, where there are people who are on islands now that have been created because of mudslides and
they were already islands, but the bridges got washed away.
Yeah, they were in remote places, and now the road doesn't go there anymore.
And not only that, there's reports of, we'll get into the whole FEMA thing later, but there's people taking supplies up through there. And like, do you watch what is it, Bikes and Beards, dudes on YouTube? He been up there, and he hooked up with a place to take everything, because they say if you start going up there and trying to take the goods closer to the people yourself, that the actual people are robbing the trucks. So you actually got, I'm gonna say woods people, because if I say redneck, it might offend them.
Mountain people
that probably are doing without just as well. They're not waiting on anybody to distribute the stuff. They're going to get it.
It's a desperate situation.
It's a very desperate situation. What would you do if you were stuck out there with your family?
Yeah.
And trucks were driving by with stuff on them.
Yeah. No, I was watching video that some people shot they were passing through Asheville as it was like going down, and they kind of got stuck there, and it turned into it's like an apocalyptic scene. There are people standing out in lines trying to get a gallon of gas. Or there was a restaurant that was just giving all their food away to whoever walked up because they didn't have power and the food was all going to go bad. And
might as well feed the people.
They couldn't process credit cards, and nobody had cash. So they were like, here, just take all this food with you, and you can have one last meal to try to go find another one. But it's desperate. And the people ended up leaving through high water to get out of there because it got dangerous.
I saw it where people that couldn't leave, they're actually just standing in their house waist deep in water.
Yeah.
They got other people in there with them. The cat's floating on a little ottoman or something in the background. I mean, it's, golly, I just can't imagine.
There's nowhere to run from water.
I mean, higher ground.
Yeah.
But in the Smoky Mountains, how much higher does it get?
Well, I mean, they're in higher ground. But
how does the mountains flood?
So here's how the mountains flood. The places aren't built on the mountains. Everything there is in a valley, right?
At the bottom of the valley.
So many of these valleys have a river that runs through it. So the river runs over and floods the entire town. You look at a place like
Hurricanes bringing in all that water and it's funneling down through the mountains.
Yeah, Chimney Rock is gone. The town doesn't exist anymore. It's all washed away. But I learned this in 2017 from flooding in West Virginia. I thought the same thing. I was like, how does West Virginia flood? It's all mountains, but all the water runs down the hills, and then the river goes up and washes the town away. Or there's a big mudslide down the mountain, and it wipes out everybody's house. That's not built at the top of the mountain. But even if you're at the top and the mud goes out from under you, your house is coming down too.
Yeah.
So that's how these islands get created. And these mudslides go across the roadways and fill up rivers. And then rivers get diverted and make new rivers, and all kinds of weird stuff happens. But you can't escape water. We're here in Northwest Georgia, and we have tornadoes. What happens when a tornado comes? You go in the basement and hide, right? Well, if we go in the basement and there's...
Get in the bathtub and hide.
Yeah.
Because you got to be clean before you get flung through the air.
Before you get tossed, pull the mattress over you. But they, I forget where I was going with that.
I've never heard anybody get flung across the state on a tornado and hold on to a mattress and be like, I was cool.
Yeah, it was great. But the water, if you go in the basement to get away from the water, the water's coming in the crack under that door over there. Water goes where water wants to go, especially a gajillion gallons at one time, running down a mountain. So there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
So if you can get in your house and you just got to chill while the water's up chest deep and you got the baby up over your head or whatever.
And if you get on the roof, you're just getting rained on.
Yeah.
It's it's horrible, man.
Yeah, it's tough.
And what makes it even harder is you got a lot of people that's trying to help them.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting a lot of reports that help is not being received as well as it should.
Yeah. Well, today we were talking just a minute ago, and I don't know if it got recorded or not. Our guest who's supposed to be on next week, maybe he's back by then or maybe he's not, but he's at a distribution center in Burnsville, North Carolina, and they've got stuff out, like pallets of stuff that you would send to a hurricane play. There's food, there's clothes, I guess, and supplies and things. So this Black Hawk helicopter comes in.
You're seeing it all on TikTok.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
It's the one we've all seen on social media today.
Yeah, you've seen it by now if you're listening to this episode, but this Black Hawk helicopter comes down and sort of looks like it's going to land on the place and just scatters the stuff everywhere.
And it's an unmarked helicopter.
Yeah, I mean, it's military, so it's not going to be like super marked anyway. But it just trashed their site. So they've been all day trying to recover the stuff that was sent for the recovery. And so even if, of course, you get into conspiracies and they're like, well, the government did that. Maybe.
Well, I did see one video, and it may have been that same helicopter, but it ended up coming down in a different part of the parking lot, and when he opened it, it had like generators and stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like, well, if he knew he couldn't land over there, why did he go over there and blow all their stuff around and then come over here and land? I don't know if it was the same helicopter.
Right.
But either way, I'm all like, that was kind of not a real cool move there.
Well, at the very least, it was a really bad mistake, like a detrimental mistake that the government on some level made.
Yeah, well, my bad. They should at least acknowledge it. Somebody should acknowledge it. But hey, by the way, that helicopter that did that bad thing, we didn't mean that. That was bad.
Yeah. But that's like one of the first military helicopters anybody's seen. So when you go to these natural disaster sites, when these things happen, like the National Guard is not far behind most of the time.
It's usually covered up with people, right?
Yeah, you get big trucks, you get helicopters, you get rescues, you get all kinds of things, and that's not happening there. But private citizens are stepping up. I own a helicopter. How can I help? That kind of thing.
Trump went there. Trump was there first.
Trump went to Fayetteville, didn't he? Yeah.
Trump's threw paper towels at people.
I missed that somehow.
He was just taking them off the table and flinging them to the people.
Here, go clean up your mess.
Of course, the left is all like, he just throwing paper towels at people. Well, you're complaining about him doing that from like South Dakota.
Yeah, right. Not even close to the place. Yeah. But I don't know. Hey,
I would like to mention, just because it's going to be like boiling down soon, these hurricane things, they come and they go. They're going to need help for a while.
Yeah.
So keep donating stuff for a while. It ain't just for a couple of weeks. This is going to take some time to get these people's lives put back together.
Yeah. We by the time you see this, we will have sent a truckload of stuff up there. So thanks for that, Kobe Reeves.
And keep doing it.
Yeah. We'll do it again. But man, the destruction up there, it's not in Florida. They have hurricanes. It happens. It's what they do. There's a hurricane, they rebuild.
I'm going to go one further and say, find somebody up there that's up there if you're going to give money.
Yeah.
Don't just give money to like FEMA.
Don't donate to the Red Cross or FEMA.
Red Cross, FEMA, any of that. Find something up there. If it's one of those places, resource centers where they're dropping off the places, I'm sure they'll take a check and distribute some more stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of where I wanted to go with this whole thing, was that the government, maybe they're doing their best. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're doing the best they can do to help clean up after this storm.
Hey, Tanko, what did we spend last year on the military? What was the military budget last year?
So suppose they're doing the best they can. It's not great. It's not good. It's not enough. But where the differences are really being made is that private citizens are getting stuff done.
The U.S. Military budget in 2023 was $820.3 billion.
They're not doing enough.
Yeah.
When it comes to this hurricane thing. And it wouldn't even, $823 billion?
Billion with a B.
You know how big of a difference there is between a million and a billion?
A billion is 100 millions.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's the term. I can't. There's ways to put it in perspective. Like a million minutes is like days. A billion minutes is years.
It's like 1,000 years.
Yeah, that's the difference between a million and a billion. And we spent $833 billion.
Yeah, on stuff that I'm sure is important, but
and we're complaining about people wanting to give kids free lunch for school. We don't have money for safe schools or to put military trained people in our schools, or just anybody with half a sense and knows how to handle themselves in the schools. The government's not coming to help us.
Yeah, and we don't have money to clean up after a hurricane. It's just not there. We've heard FEMA people say, government officials say, we don't have enough money to get through hurricane season.
What's the saying? Like, when I wake up in the morning to go to work, the government ain't there.
Yeah.
When I go to work all week and I'm busting my tail, the government ain't there. When I'm having to take my daughter to the doctor or my dog to the vet, the government ain't there. But as soon as I get paid, the government's there.
Payday, yeah.
I'm kind of getting fed up with it. And especially we're spending all this money overseas when we've already made the argument that we got people over here that are hungry and needy and all that.
Yeah,
well, now we got this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we just fire up the money press for our own people if we can do it for people on the other side of the planet?
Right.
So we're going to hit you with some facts. The FEMA budget for 2024 is amazing.
I'm going to throw it.
Great. It's fantastic. $640 million.
$640 million.
That's it. Now, since February of 2022, we've spent $175 billion in Ukraine.
Oh,
billion.
That's with a B.
B with a B.
Meanwhile, we can scrounge up some couch money of $640 million for FEMA, which is domestic.
I'm good with FEMA not existing anymore.
Yeah, amen to that.
Just being done. And we're watching them on TV now. I've been on the ground with FEMA before, and maybe not everybody associated with FEMA is entirely useless, but that was the gist that I got because we were knee deep in the mud, and they're not. They're watching us with their clipboards and doing whatever they're doing. They weren't helping. And they were late to the scene.
I don't remember. I remember growing up, like in school and learning about FEMA. They made us believe that they were the knight in shining armor. Like there was a lot of us in high school that's like, we're gonna work for FEMA.
Grow up, work for FEMA.
And now I'm all like, man, I'm so ashamed of myself for ever thinking that. These people, no, if it's a government agency, how many times do they have to put it to you before we realize they're not here to help us?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't care about
us. And they're not
all.
coming to help us.
No.
And what about the rumor of the affected? First of all, a conspiracy boy here.
Here we go.
This does not reflect Danny Burnham's particular mind frame. Go ahead, Tango.
Well, no. I was going to hit you with this. So remember that FEMA number.
Yeah.
Remember that FEMA number.
$160 million.
$630 million? Okay.
$630 million?
Yeah, that was their entire year budget.
Okay.
640.
640, okay.
Remember. That's our federal government. Samaritan's Purse 2023 budget was $994 million. So a non-profit organization is able to spend more than our federal government on aid for people.
When the federal government is funded off our money.
That's the FEMA doesn't have any money. The military doesn't have money.
The people that are funding that other thing, their taxes are also funding FEMA.
Yeah, right.
And they're funding that other thing.
So how much more money could Samaritan's Purse have? Samaritan's Purse, who actually does good work all the time, how much more do they have if we're not losing 40% of our paychecks to FEMA and the military and public school and all this stuff?
Or what if we could choose which organizations got our taxes? What if they're just like, hey, you're going to give away this much of your paycheck, but you can choose what federal? Okay, they get my money now.
Yeah, I'll pay my percentage to Samaritan's Purse. What do you got, Tango?
Which, coincidentally, Samaritan's Purse is headquartered in Boone, North Carolina.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it?
Oh.
So
sure enough.
They're not like secretly owned by BlackRock or nothing.
No.
No,
Samaritan Purse is a Christian organization that
travels
around the world helping people. Like they have cruise ships on standby for aid.
Yeah, they're ready to roll. They got like people call them battleships. They're like ready to go.
They really are like
they're the real deal.
Yeah, they're legit. They are so much more prepared than FEMA.
Yeah.
Get ready to fact check me if we go down this conspiracy hole.
Do it.
I have heard the conspiracy that the affected area is sitting on top of one of the world's largest mine deposits of lithium.
That's the story.
That's the story.
I don't know. I have no idea where the lithium is. Lithium is what they're making all batteries out of. Yeah, especially these like the EV batteries.
And you do not want a lithium mine anywhere near where you live.
Yeah.
It decimates the land.
So that's, I mean, you guys are trying to pull the curtains back on the conspiracies here. This is what we were talking about this off air.
Well, I mean, it's just something I've heard about. And if I'm going to bring it up on here, if I'm full of it and have nothing to stand on, then we need to know about it because I don't want to put out false information. Like I said, this is I heard.
Yeah.
Or I've seen. And just because I saw it on TikTok, don't make it real. I've realized that.
Yeah.
But the best news does come off TikTok.
I mean, sadly, right? That's where TikTok and Twitter where we're getting
where you see the people actually posting in their backyards of their cats getting stolen while the government's going, ain't nobody doing that.
Nobody's stealing your cat. Well, here it is. I got it right here on my iPhone 15.
You ain't seeing anything about it? That just proves my point. The government's hiding the information. Or we can just talk about something else now. Cut that complete 2 minutes out.
Yeah, we'll just kill that. It's got to... No, it's good. It's good. It just, I don't know. The government isn't helping. Hasn't helped today.
Now, how long should it take? What are these people doing?
Well, it's been over a week now, but today Joe Biden released $100 million to go to North Carolina Department of Transportation to start fixing these roads. So, like, there's a lot of stuff you can do. You're limited, I guess, in what you can do if you don't have roads. You got to have roads. I get it. Like, let's start with the roads. I would love for that $100 million to go to people and their houses and their livelihoods and whatever. But, like, I get it. But this happened last Friday. It's Monday today. And by the time you guys listen to this, it'll be almost 2 weeks. But it took that long. It took a week for our government to go, hey, here's $100 million. So we're up to $100 million in domestic funding. $0 as far as anybody knows from any other country.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, we're sending.
I heard somebody gave us
billions
some money,
of dollars to Ukraine.
I don't know if there was any truth to that. Like, I've never heard of anybody giving us money.
Well, it doesn't happen. Maybe it does, but it's not enough or often enough to make a difference. But like, how many times do we have hurricanes? How many times even close to us here, we have tornadoes. Like, places get wiped out. Jacksonville, Alabama got hammered a couple of years ago. Was there foreign money coming in to take care of that, or was it Alabama on their own?
Well, when the tornadoes came through here, it was about 10 years ago.
2011, yeah.
Yeah, and tore everything to pieces.
It wiped out from here to Cartersville, up to Daresville.
Chattanooga. Yeah. And all that got hit.
So going back to your claim, that kind of stems from a bill that was proposed in, I'm going to butcher this county name, Gaston County, which is about 80 to 100 miles away from Chimney Rock.
That's the correct way to say it.
All right.
I've been there.
Piedmont Lithium wanted to build basically an open pit mine for lithium. That was 2 years ago, though. So I think the conspiracy is that this was part of that original, but this was 80 to 100 miles away from Chimney Rock.
So to get to that conspiracy, we have to go through the conspiracy of ARP. Or do we need to cut the last 10 minutes? Or do you want to go that far?
I don't know. I mean, we can. We've done it before, but there's enough factual stuff that we know, though, that we ain't got to get into the weeds to point out the problem here.
Let's make this disclaimer first. We don't know.
Yeah.
This is speculation. Information that we look at, you can get to and make up your mind what you think the situation is. But Jesse Ventura back in the day proved the NOAA thing and the ARP thing and all that, right?
HARP in Alaska, which stands for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. It's based out of Alaska, and it basically does studies of the ionosphere, which is kind of the upper layer of the atmosphere. May or may not be claims of manipulating weather with it.
So, but we've been manipulating the weather, though.
Yeah.
We've been doing. That's not a secret. That's not some conspiracy. Like the government, like cloud seeding is a thing, and like they've been doing that since the 60s.
Well, I mean, they do it in Dubai all the time.
Yeah.
When they want a rainy day in Dubai, they crank out some clouds, and then they build another island.
Yeah.
So
right.
what was the claim with the plane and the direction of the hurricane changing?
So the question then would be, can the government, like they can create clouds and make it rain and do those things, like whatever, which is, I mean, why do we ever have a drought again if you can do that? But can they direct can they create a hurricane, and then can they direct the hurricane?
I would say, like, even if they can't make one, can they direct one? Because it's all like, well, weather's natural. Weather's going to happen.
Right.
And who's saying they can't make one? I'm just all like, if they can make it shift and move, then they really don't have to make one. They can just wait till one happens and then move it where they want to go.
Yeah.
I mean, that one out there that's moving around right now sure has moved in some peculiar ways.
Yeah. I don't know what the process is like for predicting.
I can tell you that most hurricanes don't start in the Gulf and move east. They usually start in the east and come up through the Gulf and hit. Yeah. But they don't start out here in the Gulf.
Did this one start in the Gulf? What is it, Milton?
I think so. Didn't it start in the Gulf?
Milton will have landed by the time this episode airs and done what it's going to do. Yeah.
So we're waiting for another one, and if disaster strikes at this one,
well, we got Kirk that might or might not have done anything materialized at all by the time we air here.
Well, we also had a couple of days.
We got to cut our time. I'm sorry, Chris. Go ahead.
After the hurricane last week, because my wife is a traveling professional, and she has to go to Atlanta and everything. And she was at an office that just a mile and a half down the road had a pool chemical warehouse explosion.
Yeah,
and it's kept that part of town. Well, that town pretty much. It's been like,
what was that, Covington?
Conyers.
Conyers, yeah.
It's been unsafe to breathe outside.
Yeah.
Like, you got people saying, I ain't coming to work because I can't leave my house because it hurts to breathe outside.
It's FEMA down there?
Of course. There's some environmental people out there doing some testing. I'm sure there are, yeah.
That's a bad deal.
My wife's been having to be in it every day. And she's getting ready to go to Jacksonville, which there's a hurricane on the way there.
Yeah. Golly, man. It's rough stuff. But FEMA's not helping with the chemical plant, and they're not going to, I don't know. God bless them, man. I'm sure there's some good people with good intentions that work there, but you don't have to look very far to find a long list of their failures. Now, Google won't show it to you, but if you get onto a Brave or another search engine, you can find them. They're notoriously inept. Just traditionally. It goes back to people can talk about Katrina. That was when it first kind of got on the radar that FEMA was just awful.
Yeah, we can point that out too, because then we had a Republican president, and he dropped the ball on Katrina.
Yeah,
so both of them suck.
Two wings on the same bird.
Yep,
that's what that's when
Kanye that's when he said, George Bush don't care about black people.
Oh, poor Mike Myers. Michael Myers is on there with him, and he's like, oh, you can see him.
He's just terrified.
You guys got a commercial?
He's doing his so sincere. People are hurting. People are in distress. George Bush don't care about black people.
Kanye in Kanye fashion just rolls it out there. God bless him. But it does prove that it's both sides.
Yeah.
We can drop the ball on both sides, and it is two wings of the same bird that are equally inept.
Yeah.
But you look at a Samaritan's Purse, you look at the bearded biker guy, you look at the mule wagon trains that have been going in and out. People have been loading things on, I forget what they're called. I should find them and shout them out. But it's a group of guys that have mules, and they're loading their mules up and hauling supplies into these remote areas.
Well, that leads us into we obviously know what not going to help the government.
Yeah.
We know what the problems are, the government. So what do we propose we do in the meantime? We propose that it's up to us to pull together and help ourselves and to help each other.
The Mountain Mule Packer Ranch is who I was thinking of. MountainMulePackers.com.
You know how gangster you got to be like, I'm going to go take these people some stuff. I'm not making anything off of it. But when they do that, they're camping out.
Yeah.
They're doing all that out in the wilderness.
They're feeding themselves. They're
they're
taking care
out
of their animals.
There cowboying it.
Yeah.
to take these people some stuff. But that's awesome.
Hauling stuff out on mules, man.
If you know any of these guys, and any of them want to be on a podcast,
bro,
we would love to have one of you on.
Absolutely. Those guys are doing the Lord's work up there. But that's what it's going to take.
I wonder if their mules ever talk to them.
The donkey might. Maybe the donkey. I don't know about the mule.
Is it got to be a donkey to talk?
I don't know. I mean, when God made a donkey talk, it was a donkey.
There's a question for the theologians.
Yeah, right. I mean, he could. If he made a donkey talk, he could make a mule talk. And if any animal was going to talk, it'd be a mule. He'd be like, nah, I ain't doing that.
That's the only thing he would be saying is nope.
Yeah, nah.
Nope.
But I mean, these are the people that are getting it done. The mountain mule packer ranch. You're not going to see it on the news. No, you see it on social media, but that's where we get the real news from most of the time anyway. When you look out your window and see what's going on, and you report it, now that's the news, and we don't need network TV to tell us what's actually going on.
We don't even need the news anymore.
We really don't.
We get it from each other now.
Yeah, you got to sort it out because there's just some garbage out there and people that'll just put things out to get clicks. But at the same time, if you can show me a video of something happening, I can't tell you that didn't happen.
Right.
You know.
Well, I don't know. AI.
Well, with the AI, but you just count everybody's fingers.
Third eye on the person.
But that's it, man. That's what. And I remember, around here we talked about tornadoes in 2011. State officials were trying to get help from the government. Like, hey, we
had it done before they showed up.
The Baptist, man, they were like, hey, Bartow Baptist Association. I lived in Cartersville at the time. They were like, can you help us out? And David Franklin, the associational missionary down there, got a crew together. We talked about it in the last episode. But there were thousands of people on the ground getting work done immediately after. I mean, within the storm was on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And then by like Friday and Saturday, like the weekend, there were people out there getting this stuff done. And
then the government shows up and they don't even bring donuts and it's done.
Yeah, we knocked it out. We were out there getting snowed on. It was fantastic. It was in January, February. It was really cold. But, I mean.
When the tornadoes?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. But the government wasn't coming. I don't remember seeing a government official.
Well, I actually worked for a company at the time that did disaster cleanup. And, I had already worked like a 12, 13 hour that day. And the tornadoes were hitting Rome when we were driving back to Rome from Atlanta. Yeah. So by the time we got here, everybody was starting to clean up. So we started, I was like a 16-hour day that day, man.
Yeah.
We was out until about 4 a.m. getting stuff out of buildings that were almost about to fall over.
Man, what we've got to not do, though, and I ran into this because Kobe Reeves, our buddy with the big truck and trailer, goes, hey, we got to get some stuff together and send it up to the affected area. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's find a place to park your trailer and we'll tell people to come there and bring donations, whatever. Churches act like we were competing with them. Like legitimately, I got like attitude from churches. They were like, nah, we're doing our own thing.
Like they were for real? Against you parking your trailer there?
Yeah, exactly like that. I'm like, man, that's great that y'all are doing.
People might put stuff in your trailer instead of our trailer.
Yeah, right.
How?
We won't get the credit for it.
How goofy is that?
It was infuriating, and it happened more than once. People like, no, we got our own thing going, thanks. I'm like, I'm not trying to interfere with your thing. Like, I want to do more things. Like,
I'm trying to help you do more of your thing.
Yeah, right. We can work together on this, which is the best way to do it anyway. It is.
That's why people don't rely on the church for anything because you can't.
Well, yeah, sadly. I mean, you should be able to, right? It ought to be who you call and go, hey, we need X, Y, and Z, and the church does it for you, whether it's diapers for your kid or hurricane
cleanup. They help you figure it out at the least.
Yeah.
Even if they can't just step in and do it all for you, they can at least help you figure it out and give you some support.
Yeah. But I mean, and there are some, like a lot of churches doing a lot of good things, but we're talking about the church as a whole.
What I'm wondering, though, like that, these churches you call I know you're not going to blast them. You can. But I'm just curious if any of these churches participate in like multi-church student stuff, like D-Nows and stuff like that. Like so they'll get together with other churches like that when they can all see who each other are, but they wouldn't let somebody else put a trailer in the parking lot.
I'm doing some math in my head now to try to remember which one of these churches have been to some of these things that I've been to.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. They're worried about losing sheep. I'm like, who cares? You're both Southern Baptist churches. They're going to learn the same thing at both places. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
But the church can't be in competition. especially in a time of need, like of real need. If y'all want to argue about, who's going to my church versus yours.
Who's the greatest in the kingdom, Lord?
Oh, here we go.
Who's the greatest?
Yeah, who is the greatest?
You both suck.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. The focus is not the least of these at a time.
It should
like
be.
That.
When you're like,
it's got to be.
I'm trying to help you guys do for the least of these.
Yeah.
Nope, you're the least of these. Are you? Go away.
Right. Thanks for nothing.
Right.
God bless Dixon Holtzclaw and people at Blue Pond Baptist Church for setting us up there. We'll have a little bit of a report on that in the next episode because it hasn't happened yet. It will have happened by the time you hear this, but we got to cut down our time between recording and release.
Hey, Tango, how many hurricanes have hit South Carolina?
Wait, hang on. How long are we there yet?
I don't know. I just want to know.
30 minutes in.
Let's see. What else did I have? A list of things we were going to cover.
The whole time. I'm like, how many hurricanes?
Yeah, I don't know. I've been mulling it over. But the church has got to be one on this. And if you can't be one, you need to get out of the way and let the people that want to help.
If you're not helping me gather, you're helping me scatter.
Yeah.
And if churches aren't working together, are they really helping gather?
No.
I mean, they're gathering like in a selfish way.
They're like hoarding, and they're not gathering.
It's mine.
Yeah.
Instead of like, hey, look what we got.
Yeah, yeah. That's a shame. That's a shame because we're supposed to be on the same team, and not just all of us Baptists, but us Methodists and us Presbyterians. And
well, the only reason to compete would be if you it's a business.
That's tough.
If it's being operated as a business, then of course there's
it's competition.
Conflict with Subway aren't, they're not going to let your daughter come up there and make homemade sandwiches in a parking lot.
Yeah, right. You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these other churches didn't want to help the needy extra.
Yeah.
Which really blows my mind.
Right. Why not do more? I get you're doing a thing, but why not do more? What if we could do more?
If anything, it should be, bring your trailer up here. Hey, let's get even more and fill their trailer up.
Yeah.
We got a whole nother trailer to fill up.
Yeah.
People, get it going.
Didn't ask them for anything. Like, we got gas is covered. Everything's good. We just wanted to park the trailer for a little while and let people throw stuff in it. That was it. Nah, we're good. We're doing a thing.
I'm going to find out off air who that is.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Just keep it off of TikTok because I might have to go there one day.
Oh, okay.
People are still calling me to preach occasionally. So guess what I'm preaching on when I show up, though?
Yeah, right. Stewardship.
Sermon y'all are getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it, man. So let's go. Let's get to the trivia now. They were since 1851 when they started recording hurricanes.
He remembered the year.
I do. I've been taking my Alpha Brain.
All right, let's see. We'll hit the little
Not sponsored by Alpha Brain.
Oh, the lights are on.
The fantastic lights.
That's beautiful. I love it. That's fantastic.
All right, so a little bit of background on this.
Okay.
So this will help you kind of determine your numbers. So a hurricane is considered, it's deemed a hurricane when a tropical storm reaches wind speeds in excess of 74 miles an hour.
So a sustained wind of 74 miles an hour.
Yes.
Okay.
So that changes it a little bit.
Does it also, I guess it's also got to be rotation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
He's lost the tab.
I have the tab. There was another little stat I was going to pull up for you. So, North Carolina has had 413 known tropical storms, subtropical cyclones, and hurricanes. Out of those 413, only 55 have been considered hurricanes.
So you were closer?
That's one out of every 3 years, which is still substantial.
Their average is 2.1 per year. They normally hit around September, which coincidentally falls.
Right at the last week of September is when this one hit.
Yeah.
2.1 per year can't be right, though. 1.8 every one hurricane for 2.1 years.
I'm very disappointed.
It's like 2.1 or 2.3.
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
I wanted to win. I don't know what I was going to win, but I wanted to win.
Is it really winning, though? You guessed the right number of hurricanes.
I know. I'm going to have to correct myself. I said it is the third most hurricane prone. It is, if you consider it not in the Gulf of Mexico. However, it still ranks number 4 overall as most hurricane.
4 behind Florida, Louisiana, and Alabama.
Florida currently sits at about 120 actual hurricanes that have hit.
Yeah, Florida gets them when nobody else gets them.
But
I said Alabama, probably
it's
Texas.
only a little over double what North Carolina is.
Yeah. Oh,
that's got to be the most hit state in America.
It is.
Florida,
Yeah.
right?
Florida is number 1, Louisiana, and Texas.
You don't ever hear about hurricanes over in the Atlantic. I mean,
the Pacific. Don't they call them willy willies over there, or typhoons? Or
does hurricanes only happen in the Atlantic? I know when we had that one come through last week, there was cyclone activity in like Japan and in another country too. You never heard about it, but when you open your weather app, you can zoom out.
Yeah, you can look everywhere.
And there were 2 or 3 other ones going on at the same time. You never heard about.
They have monsoons and typhoons and things in different parts of the world. But I've never heard of Los Angeles getting hit by a hurricane. I don't know.
It's earthquakes. Their side vibrates.
Look, give me a
Our
hurricane
side gets weight.
over an earthquake. That's weird. The ground starts shaking. You can count on a few things, and the ground should be one of them.
Right.
Are you looking for Pacific hurricanes, Tango?
Yes.
We'll grab this before we get out of here. But what time is it? 8:14. We're good.
They get them. It's very rare, though.
Yeah. Okay.
It's very, very rare.
I'm still more scared of an earthquake, I think, than a hurricane.
Yeah.
You feel like you can run from a hurricane.
Well, I feel like because of where we live, like if you lived in Florida, maybe you'd think different.
Maybe I'd rather have an earthquake
But
occasionally.
then again, there's people still living in Florida, so hurricanes must not be that bad.
Well,
there's still people living in California too. So.
Yeah, my family down there, that's like, they live there and they don't even get rattled unless they're talking about a Cat 4.
Right.
Like 2, 3, what are we talking about? A 74 mile an hour wind? I'll see you at work tomorrow.
I don't understand how this one got stronger at the end.
It did. It like beasted up right before it made landfall. So I don't know.
It beat up Florida and some stuff in Georgia, but
I don't understand the anatomy of a hurricane entirely.
So the reason for hurricanes not hitting the West Coast that much is because the waters are much cooler, that temperature. So you got to remember where the Atlantic and Pacific meet, there's a clear divide of the salinity, and the Pacific is a lot cooler than the Atlantic. The Atlantic's that warm water that...
All right, bet.
Humid dog sweat.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, dogs don't sweat.
Dogs don't sweat. Anywho, God bless you guys. We love you. See you next time.